Hello everyone. I got an invitation email to try Google Bard. As of April 1, 2023, it's not available to the general public. As per the email, Bard is an AI experiment from Google. So, let's see how it looks and how it compares to ChatGPT. Remember, it's still not available to the general public. By the time it's publicly available, I hope it will be much better than what it is now. At first glance, the UI looks pretty good and clean. One major difference is, unlike ChatGPT, it does not retain your past conversations. Hence, no option to clear conversations. Google says it's purposefully limited. I am assuming it will be added over time. There is a Bard activity button. When I clicked on it, I could see all my past questions. But it does not show me the responses. Another cool feature in Google Bard is that it supports voice commands. Just click on the mic and start giving voice commands. ChatGPT still does not support voice commands. However, we can use third-party extensions to use voice commands in ChatGPT. Let me start by asking Bard to tell me a joke. Here is the joke from Bard AI. As you can see, it gives me 3 drafts. Along with 3 drafts, it also gives me the option to regenerate responses. One thing I noticed, in this case, there is no difference between response 1 and response 2. Both are exactly the same. However, the third response is different. Now, let me ask the same to ChatGPT. ChatGPT gives me just one response with the option to regenerate response. Let's click on Regenerate Response. We get a new response now. We can also browse through all the responses by clicking on the Previous and Next button. Now, let me ask Bard to write a short story in 5 lines. Here is the response I got from Bard AI. I also asked the same to ChatGPT, and this is the response I got. Let me put both stories side by side for comparison. Both AI tools did a good job and wrote a small story in just 5 lines. However, ChatGPT's story is really short, which is more close to what I asked for. So I will give a point here to ChatGPT. Now, let me check how creative both of these tools are. I just asked both AI tool to add a car accident scene to the same story. Here is the updated story from Google Bard. And here is the updated version from ChatGPT. Again, both AI tools did a pretty good job and added a car accident scene to the story. As you can see, the Google Bard version of the story is no more a short story. It's now more than 10 lines long. However, after reading both versions of stories, I felt the Bard version of the story sounds better and less robotic. Also, another plus point for Bard is, it's well formatted and has paragraphs. So if you want to create a PDF, you can copy it as it is. So it's kind of hard to tell which one is better. Now, let's see some real use cases. I asked both AI tools to write an itinerary for a 3-day holiday trip to London, covering most popular tourist attractions. Here is the itinerary from Google Bard. And here is the itinerary from ChatGPT. Let me put them side by side, so that we can compare them. Let me scroll down, so that you can see the entire itinerary from both AI tools. At first glance, it seems to me ChatGPT has a better itinerary than Google Bard. It definitely covers more attractions points than Google Bard's itinerary. However, some may say Google Bard's itinerary gives enough time for someone to spend on each place and get enough rest. I don't want to get into the details. You can pause and read the responses and determine which one is better. In my opinion, GPT has a better itinerary. Next, I asked both tools to write an email to candidates for an online coding test on JavaScript and React.js. Here is the response from Google Bard. And here is the response from ChatGPT. Let me scroll down, so that you can see the entire email content from both AI tools. Both emails are looking good. Google Bard email template requires an online test link to be attached in the email. ChatGPT assumes link will be sent only after candidate confirmation. However, ChatGPT email looks more descriptive and professional to me. Also, ChatGPT email has a subject line, which Google Bard is missing. Again, my point here would go to GPT. Now, let me ask some technical questions to both the AI tools. Let's ask both tools to write HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code for a login screen with validation. Here is the code from Google Bard. Let me scroll down. As you can see, this is the HTML and CSS code. And here is the JavaScript validation. Also, the good part is, at the end, it says the source, from where it got the code snippet. To test this code, let me copy all the HTML and CSS code and paste it on jsiter.com. Here, I have pasted all the HTML code. I have also pasted all the JavaScript code in JavaScript file. As you can see, we are getting an error. Error is due to line number 16. Here, it's trying to find an HTML element with ID equals button, but there is no element with ID equals button. Also, in the code there are many places we are using getElement by ID. But in our HTML code none of the elements are having ID. So let's fix it. I am going to set an ID for all elements. As you can see, the error is gone now. And we have a login screen appearing on the browser without any error. Let me now try to click on login and see if validations are working. As you can see, I get a validation error. Please enter a username and password. So, it's working as expected. Except few minor issues, Google Bard AI generated all the code. In this case, I would say more than 90% of the work is done by Google Bard AI. I asked the same question to ChatGPT to create a login screen with validations. And here is the response. One good thing about ChatGPT is it gives a copy button to copy the code, which does not exist in Google Bard. So here is my HTML code. Let me now scroll down to see other codes. Here is the CSS code. Another good thing about ChatGPT is it gives separate code block for HTML and CSS. In case of Google Bard, we got HTML and CSS in a single HTML file. Here is the JavaScript code for validation. Now, let me copy all these code and paste it in the jsiter.com to run and see how it looks. Here, I am on jsiter.com. I have pasted the HTML code, CSS code, and JavaScript code into respective files. Unlike Bard-generated code, GPT code does not throw any error in the console. Also, the login screen here is laid out properly, and style looks much better than Bard-generated code. When I click on login, as expected, I am getting a validation error. Also, the cool thing here is GPT is using HTML5 validation instead of showing error in a span. Here is side-by-side comparison of both AI tools' output. As you can see, when it comes to generating code, GPT is much ahead of Google Bard. But I think Bard will improve over the time. By the time it's available to general public, I am sure it can give much better result than what we currently seeing. Initially, I had a plan to try some more complex scenarios with both Bard and GPT. But after looking at the current release of Bard, I think Bard is not yet ready. Right now, GPT can write complex programs. But as you saw, Google Bard is not even ready for a simple login screen. It would also be unfair to compare with GPT since Bard is still in the experimental phase and not yet released to the public. I will create part 2 of this video once we get a more stable version of Bard. In the second video I will use both AI tools to write some complex programs. I will try to develop a small web app and a database using ChatGPT and Google Bard. I will also try giving commands in languages other than English. Right now Bard only supports English commands. Stay tuned. Finally, AI is artificial. It can only use human knowledge to help others. Don't think AI will ever be able to invent something new. Only humans can do that. Happy learning!